NVIDIA is a top performing Magnificent Seven stock this year. It's up more than 200%, which has been incredible. NVIDIA deserves a lot of attention, a lot of praise, because they have been a really innovative company coming out with their GPUs a long time ago to help gamers with their graphics. But new use cases came out that could use their technology. For example, mining Bitcoin, and now artificial intelligence. Uh, NVIDIA's gear is now recognized as the leading technology for AI. I wanted to evaluate the company. Today's their earnings, and I wanted to share with you a few comments on how I feel about the company, how I value the company, if it has a current discount on the stock or a premium, and give you my overall analysis on NVIDIA. My name is Victor. I have an MBA, a lot of business experience, and I like sharing that experience on YouTube. Do me a big favor and like my video and subscribe to my channel. That'd really help me out a lot. Now, let me go over my process and my evaluation of NVIDIA. Over years of investing, I developed a process that works for me, and I encourage you to develop a process for yourself. My process has 4 key questions that enable me to make a decision whether I want to buy or hold or sell a particular stock. First, I want to know, do I want to be a part owner in a company? Do I like the industry that I'm investing in? Do I believe management is doing a good job operating the company? Do I believe debt is under control and less than 3 times EBITDA? And I want a discount on the stock. I work hard for my money when I invest it. I want it to go up in value. And if I get a discount on the front end, it just increases the chances of my investment appreciating over time. Based on the answers to those questions, I buy, hold, or sell a stock. NVIDIA is such a great company. They are a proven leader in graphical processing units. They're a technology that is in high demand, and just a culture within the business, from what I gather, of just attracting talented engineers and people that are really creating the best technology and compute and processing available in the marketplace. It's really a great story to cover. They really weren't around, let's say 30 years ago. They were tiny 20 years ago, and they became somewhat mid-sized 10 years ago. And nowadays they're the most valuable semiconductor company on the planet, which is awesome to see. It's easy to get my head around their business and their industry. I've been an investor in semiconductor. TSM is one of my big wins. I tripled my money, a 3-bagged TSM. I was an investor in Broadcom, made lots of money on Broadcom. I just sold my position in Broadcom. The AI craze pushed the stock way beyond where I thought it was valued. So I made a very good return on Broadcom. I lost a lot of money on Intel, just to put air one of my semiconductor failures. I lost money on Intel. But NVIDIA is a stock that I owned a number of years ago. I haven't been an owner of NVIDIA in some time, but it's good to analyze the company. I love the company. I think the industry is great. And that's my feeling on the company and the industry. The company has been growing very fast in 2023, but I wanted to point out that although they've grown 130%, if you look at their size in 2018 up to their size in 2022, if you notice from 2021 to 2022, almost no growth. They just grew $60 million, which was no growth. So that's interesting to see that they hit a wall not too long ago. Now they're growing again. But when they do their compares, you're also seeing that, for example, the first quarter revenue of 2023 was down 13% if you compare it to the previous year. So again, the latest news is that NVIDIA is growing very fast, but not too long ago, within the last really 12 months, they had trouble growing. So I want to take that into account and say, they are in an industry. It's not like software where you can develop a piece of software or code and sell it to 1 million customers, not have a lot of per unit cost and supply chain issues and so forth. The semiconductor industry is different. You have to create a product and then ship it to the customer. So growing for a semiconductor company is difficult. And I know the demand is very high for NVIDIA. I just don't know that they can produce and deliver the kind of volume that's going to increase their revenues dynamically. Their operating expenses were down, which is a positive, which caused them to be more profitable in Q1. They're expecting in Q2, and we'll see later today within, I think, 2 hours, how close they are to this $11 billion quarter. If they do hit that quarter, it'll be a 64% increase if you compare Q2 versus in 2023 versus Q2 in 2022. Their balance sheet is in very good shape. First, debt to EBITDA is less than 1, and I'm looking for less than 3 for that ratio. But they even have more cash than they do debt on the balance sheet. So their balance sheet's very strong. Cash flows are growing for NVIDIA. If you compare Q1 versus Q1 of last year, it grew actually 92%. So that's just quarter. So we can't take that because it's too small of a data set. But I'm going to use the current run rate and increase over the short term at a very high rate in my valuation. Based on my analysis, I believe that NVIDIA is being sold at a premium of 47%. What that means is that I believe that each share is really worth about $250 per share based on the free cash flows they're going to produce and the earnings per share that they're going to produce. But right now, the marketplace loves NVIDIA, and you could buy shares for NVIDIA at $469 per share. Let me go over how I got to these conclusions. First, by looking at free cash flows. Now, I've taken free cash flows and made the best estimate I can based on the data that I have, where the NVIDIA business is, and I'm taking the run rate that I see for the company over the last 12 months, and I'm increasing it by 50% for the current run rate. I know that right now NVIDIA is in super demand. So that's a rational increase in the current cash flows that I'm willing to take. And then from there, from years 2, 3, and 4, I'm going to grow those by 25%. Very aggressive growth rate on cash. Again, they have a business where they have to produce a product, ship a product, deliver a product. So it's more complicated than, let's say, a Google that just has to improve algorithms on search. So based on those numbers, I get these types of revenues or cash flow streams in the first 4 years. All cash flows after year 4 are in this bucket, which is terminal value, all cash flows beyond year 4. I'm going to discount those free cash flows by 8% as a weighted average cost of capital. And my model determines that the value of those free cash flows is $391 billion. They have $13 billion on the balance sheet that I'm going to add because that's a plus to the value. And I'm going to take away the debt, which is $12 billion, and that's a negative to the value. And I get to $393 billion of value from those free cash flows. Now, the marketplace is in love with NVIDIA and has valued the company at $1.13 trillion in value. Based on those figures, there's a 66% premium on NVIDIA stock, which, based on my analysis, each share is worth $159 based on the free cash flows NVIDIA is going to produce. Yet the market will sell you shares at $469 per share. So it's a pretty big premium you're paying on NVIDIA. Earnings per share reveals a different number. The earnings per share expected for the company this year is $8.25, a big jump from last year, and it's deserved. I'm using a very high PE, 60. This is about as high as you can get for a semiconductor company. Again, let's not lose sight of this is a semiconductor company. They have manufacturing operations. They have a lot of engineers to pay. They have innovation to spend on, capital to put into their businesses. And there's a lot of risk. So a PE of 60 is being very generous to this particular valuation and expected long-term growth rate of 5%. Based on that criteria and this calculation right here, I get a value per share, $430 per share, a little closer to the market price of $469, but it's still being sold at about an 8% premium. So based on those calculations, what I do is I take more weight in free cash flows. Cash flows are really, when Warren Buffett talks about valuing companies, he talks about cash flow. When Charlie Munger and a lot of value investors talk about valuing companies, they focus on cash flow. So I use 2/3 of the cash flow valuation, and I use 1/3 of the earnings per share. So based on that mix, I get a blended value that shows that NVIDIA is being sold at a premium of 47%. In other words, the value of each share is really $249, but the market's selling shares at $469. So let me put NVIDIA through my process. I think very highly of the company. Industry's great. These guys are operated as good as any semiconductor company, potentially in the history of the industry, but most definitely last couple of years, just phenomenal job by the team there. Debt is well under 3 times EBITDA, no discount in stock. There's actually a pretty significant premium. Therefore, I would actually hold or sell my shares of NVIDIA. I don't own NVIDIA. I sold my shares a long time ago before this AI craze. And therefore, I wouldn't be a buyer of NVIDIA shares at this time. The NVIDIA stock price over the last 12 months, it was actually an opportunity back in 2022, but along with a lot of stocks in 2023, it really took off. But really, once the AI craze happened, you saw this giant increase occur, and it hasn't let up. It is just skyrocketing and going to the moon. Over the last year to date, the stock is up 221%. So if you're an NVIDIA stockholder, congratulations. You deserve a lot of praise. They have a tiny dividend of 0.03%. So really, it's like not having a dividend at all. I value NVIDIA at $249 a share. So it's been a while since I either had the price fairly valued or it provided an opportunity for a discount. And I would say that back in these days, AI was nothing. It wasn't even talked about. So there was no way I could put in the models that they were going to grow as fast as they're growing now. So really, they haven't been in a place where I felt like, hey, I'm getting a good acquisition price on NVIDIA. I'm the type of investor, I'm a value investor. I'm looking for a discount on my acquisition price. I buy stocks over time in companies, and I wait for that stock price to dip or get to a reasonable acquisition price, and I'll hold long term. When you stack rank NVIDIA against the other Magnificent Seven stocks, it's top of the stack. It's just done great. And the second place company is Meta, which has done great, but nowhere near where NVIDIA has gone this year. So it's been a really fun stock to watch, and we'll see if it's going to go up higher or if it's going to drop after the earnings. So again, NVIDIA is a phenomenal company. They are such a impressive company with great technology, and AI is just going to float their boat for at least a couple of years while companies invest in NVIDIA so that they can build their AI solutions, their AI capabilities, their big data sets, their large language models. All that is going to be built over the next couple of years. The one thing I would say is, I don't know how many business models there are out there for artificial intelligence. I think it's exciting to see where it's going, but I'm not seeing where somebody's making money on it just yet. I've been playing around with Bard, which is a Google solution that they make available. It's really neat. It's really neat. But at what point will it be a business model that makes money? We've seen a lot of things, especially in the dot-com era. You saw a lot of ideas come and go because they were ideas that they were kind of like a solution looking for a problem, and they never were worth much or enough for consumers or companies to buy. Will AI be that? I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. We'll safely be able to say what happened in 5 to 10 years. But between now and that happening, boy, it's just all the expectations on NVIDIA, all the expectations on AI. I'm not quite sure how much of it is fiction and how much of it is fact. I would say more fiction than fact at this point. With that, that's my video on NVIDIA. Hope you found it interesting. Let's see how the earnings call goes. We'll see where the stock goes after the earnings, and we'll see where the stock goes for the remainder of 2023. Do me a big favor and like my video. Subscribe to my channel, and you can see other videos like this. Thank you for watching. Good luck investing in 2023.